Hello, everyone. This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. Today, this video is about Senator Chris Murphy bitching to the news concerning the recent loss of the Sikorsky Lockheed SB Defiant compared to the V-280 Valor Bell. Bell won the contract ultimately, but what's going to happen is ultimately, without a doubt, my prediction will be true to form. Because in 2005, Lockheed Martin won the VH-1 helicopter, the presidential helicopter, away from Sikorsky. From what I've did my research is that from 1995, when I was there, I was laid off with 800 people approximately. We were part of the Clinton plan. That Clinton, when he was elected, said that we have to get rid of 500,000 people because we don't need the military complex like we once did. So with cost-cutting measures that Bill did, they started, when Bill got in, they got up to me in 1995. They completed the task, I think, in 2001. And during this time, they started to cut back on quality at Sikorsky. I know because I was interviewed in 2008 for a manager position there, what I was grooming myself for. My background is composites, plastics, non-ferrous metals, metallurgy, heat treatment of metals, titanium, aluminum alloys, etc., etc. I don't want to bore you and give you narcolepsy. My background is aerospace, medical implants, medical materials, printing, and plastic distribution, where I dealt with all kinds of different companies. But the reason why I bring it here today is this video today is about Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy. Blasts Army on helicopter choice, pretty miserable performance. QA authority, Daryl Goodman says, sit down, Mr. CCP. Yes, sit them down, Mr. CCP. All of them. All the Connecticut contingency. I'm sure their little American flag pin, if you flip it over, it says made in China. Nobody has come forward and said, no, it's not. Come see the pin for yourself. But I'm going to say this. Murphy went on to say this to the newspaper. U.S. Senator Chris Murphy warned the Secretary of the U.S. Army that Congress would limit funds for the Bell aircraft to replace the Sikorsky Black Hawk helicopter. Now, does that show any empathy for our servicemen and women who are thirsting for new aircraft, new equipment to fight the scourges of what is happening in our world today? Chris Murphy doesn't give a shit only about his pocketbook. You always find that out. Let me just say this, business owners and my fellow citizens. I can do a better job than all those four, and I'm going to tell you why. As soon as they take $1 from a Lockheed Martin, as soon as they go out to dinner with a special interest, that is when they are no longer working for us. Remember, they are elected for the people and by the people. And as we've seen with the Dominion voting machine, that's a lie. But anyway, so he went on to say, after the history of cost overruns with the Bell V-22 Osprey, which pioneered tilt-rotor technology, that the Bell aircraft duplicates. Take a look at that mess. That is a real mess. So let me introduce you to the first person here. The first person who comes into play is Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro. She's been there too long doing nothing. There she is. In fact, as you can see with the purple hair, I think the circulation to her brain has seized, and that's why her hair turned purple. I don't know. We also have Mr. Jim Himes, who many times you'll see him on Twitter having a nice, big, healthy bunch of shrimp, where several of his constituents, many of them, cannot purchase shrimp because of cost. You also have the factor, where is he? Richard Blumenthal, who most recently, I'm sorry to say that he got his femur broken. I don't know how you do that. That's a pretty hefty bone. But I think the possible champagne or caviar got too much for his anatomy. And then we have Mr. Chris Murphy. And I'm going to just go right into this because I can go on and on and on. You're going to find the rest of the data down below this video. But let me tell you these things, these factors. In 2009, Lockheed Martin got hacked by China, taking the F-35 fighter. In 2012-13, Lockheed was working with Bell on the V-280 Valor. They backed out of it because they figured that later on down the line, they're going to be purchasing Sikorsky, because 2005, as I said, 2005 they won the VH1, and then they gave it back to Sikorsky, United Technologies, because they figured in 10 years they're going to buy Sikorsky anyway from United Technologies, which took place. So 2012, Lockheed gets hacked, F-35 China. 2012, a division of United Technologies, Sikorsky Aircraft, gets hacked by China. In 2015, okay, Lockheed Martin goes to purchase Sikorsky Aircraft, and in the Connecticut Mirror, this is what it says. Sorry. And that's what it says. It says, but Connecticut lawmakers praise Lockheed Martin for clearing its last regulatory hurdle, which meant this, business owners. And on top of it, read the title. The title is outrageous. It says, with China's okay, Lockheed Martin to close on Sikorsky Aircraft. And this line over here was basically broken down like this. They didn't want to tell you it, because it said, Connecticut lawmakers praise Lockheed for jumping the next hurdle. Well, let me tell you what the hurdle is. This is the way it should have read. Connecticut lawmakers Rosa DeLauro, Richard Blumenthal, Chris Murphy, and Jim Himes praise our #1 military contractor, Lockheed Martin, for working with communist China. Yes, isn't that nice? So that's why I say Mr.CCP. For those of you who are saying, Daryl, I can't believe that Lockheed got hacked, F-35. I can't believe Sikorsky got hacked. Well, ladies and gentlemen, business owners, here it is. You have the F-35, and you have its Chinese counterpart. You have the Black Hawk, and you have the Chinese Z-20, which is a definite, right spot-on Black Hawk helicopter. And I bet you, if you opened up the cowlings on the engine on that Black Hawk Chinese, I bet you it says T-700 on it. I wouldn't doubt it, made in America. But I will also say this. Bell Helicopter, their V-280 Valor, from what I've gathered, their avionics systems, the whole cockpit is manufactured by Lockheed Martin, much of it. So even though Lockheed may have lost Lockheed Sikorsky, they're still gaining it back. It's very incestuous in the military arena. When Chris Murphy says about price overruns, in every governmental contract, it doesn't matter who makes it, manufacture it, there are cost overruns because it is a honey barrel for these military contractors, okay? It's a honey barrel. They can spend, and they'll take from this program to go over to this program. I've seen it happen. Personally, I've seen it happen. A great one when I was working in aerospace was a threw-up card. They said 998. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it on video here. But anyway, I'm going to say this. Most recently, China had an exposition. Okay, it's military aircraft. And there were two models, working models from what I've gathered. You had the SB Defiant that Sikorsky Lockheed made. It was identical, just like I showed you with these. Same thing. And it also had the V-280 Valor. So the technology, Murphy talks about price overruns. The technology has already been stolen, and we are giving our military substandard, whether it's Bell Helicopter or whether it's Sikorsky Lockheed, those aircraft are substandard. And they will say, well, the avionics systems are different. They already have that. In fact, let me just say this, finally, is that in 2012-13, our wonderful Department of Defense signed a waiver so that China could build these specialized magnets for computer systems and the landing gear doors on the F-35. And we had perfectly capable companies in the United States to do this. I know I have a customer of mine actually several of them, who manufacture magnets, who put their bids in, and the government said it's too not effective. So we have some issues going on here. Christopher Murphy, Rosa DeLauro, Jim Himes, and Richard Blumenthal all went like this when Lockheed had to get approval from communist China. What the fuck does that say about them? I will tell you what it says. And by the way, fuck is a quality term. It says they're no good. So let me just say this from Thomas Paine. It is impossible to comprehend the moral mischief, if I may so express it, that mental lying has produced in our society when a man or a woman has so far corrupted and prostituted the chastity of their mind as to subscribe their professional belief to things they do not believe. They have prepared themselves a commission for every other crime, and we are the ones who have to suffer. And I will say this again. These people, Rosa DeLauro, Jim Himes, Christopher Murphy, and Richard Blumenthal, are elected for the people and by the people. And as soon as they get paid by Lockheed, go look at their disbursements. It says go Lockheed disbursements, any date, you will see that these four characters are getting paid. As soon as they get paid by anybody, whether they go out to dinner with a special interest, whether they get paid by Lockheed or Boeing or whatever, they are not working for us anymore. Do you hear that? They are not working for us. My telephone number is 203-556-1493 or Daryl, D-A-R-Y-L, TQRS@yahoo.com. I'm sorry for the length of this video, but when you have a schmuck rolling around in our government here, and I'm going to say this, there are approximately 3.6 million people in Connecticut. That means we have 4 representatives that are handling over 900,000 people. You call them up and their aides suck, all of them. They really do. And then you call up a congressman who might be a Republican outside your state, and they listen, well, call up the representative. They're all in bed together. When you get the Lockheed disbursements, they have both Democrats and Republicans on all 50 states getting bribed by them. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, wake up. Because if you don't wake up, we're done. Game over. And that's what I'm going to say. I'll talk to you soon.